بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. حضورنا الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نرحب بكم في اليوم الثاني من أعمال منتدى مكة للحلال، حيث تتواصل الحوارات القيادية وتتعامق الرؤى الاستراتيجية، ويمضي المنتدى في ترسيخ مكانته منصة عالمية تجمع صناع القرار ورواد الأعمال وخبراء الصناعة لرسم ملامح المرحلة القادمة لاقتصاد الحلال. يوم جديد يحمل في طياته جلسات نوعية تسلط الضوء على بناء الكفاءات والتجارب الدولية الناجحة ودور التقنية والابتكار، وصولاً إلى تمكين المؤثرين والمبادرات الريادية في تشكيل مستقبل القطاع. بمشاركتكم الفعالة يتعزز الإرث وتكبر الشراكات وتتسع دائرة التأثير، فأنتم شركاء في صناعة هذا المستقبل. حضورنا الكرام، نرحب بكم في أول جلسات اليوم الثاني من منتدى مكة للحلال، ويسعدنا تواجدكم معنا في هذا الحوار القيادي المهم بعنوان جاهزية الرؤساء التنفيذيين للبناء الاستراتيجي للكفاءات. في عالم يتغير بوتيرة متسارعة، أصبحت جاهزية القيادات التنفيذية عنصراً حاسماً في بناء المؤسسات القادرة على الاستدامة والمنافسة. وتناقش هذه الجلسة دور الرؤساء التنفيذيين في تطوير الكفاءات وصناعة بيئة مؤسسية تعزز الابتكار والاحترافية. ويتفضل مدير الجلسة الدكتور بندر عرب للترحيب بضيوفه الكرام وإدارة هذا الحوار.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second day of Makkah Halal Forum. The sixth session of Makkah Halal Forum is titled C-Suite Readiness for Strategic Capacity Building. Leadership is not just about position, but it's a vision and the ability to shape future, especially in a vital sector like halal. I'm honored to call my guests in this session. First, Mr. Janeed Wahidna. He is the founder and the chairman of Wahid, the world-leading Islamic fintech platform, with assets under management exceeding $1 billion. He built a pivotal role in launching the first faith-based and ethical EFT on the NASDAQ. He holds an MS from Columbia University. Previously, he worked on Wall Street and is now a leading global voice in value-based finance. Please have a seat. Second is Mr. Murad Onik. He is the managing partner at Ars Asset Management and the vice chairman of the Turkish Venture Capital Assembly. Please. His distinguished career includes senior global leadership roles at Microsoft headquarters and in Turkish Telecom as well. Today, he leads strategic investment that foster growth in the halal sector and serves as a board member at Takas Bank Borsa. Please have a seat. He is also holding. No, let's go then to our third yes, our third guest will be Mr. Faisal Bahardin, and or Mr. Fazl Bahardin, sorry. He is the founder and CEO of Crescent Rating and Halal Trip, the world's leading brands in Muslim-friendly travel. With 3 decades of experience, Mr. Fazl has led the development of global standards and benchmarks, most notably the MasterCard Crescent Rating Global Muslim Travel Index GMTI. He is an elected board member of PATA, an affiliate of UN Tourism, and has completed executive program at Stanford University and National University of Singapore. Please welcome my guests. Our session format will start giving each of the speakers 8 minutes, and then we will have 3 rounds of questions. So let's start with Mr. Fazl in the beginning. Please start within around 8 minutes to talk about your topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bandar, for the introduction. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good day to all of you. It's really an honor to be back at the Makkah Halal Forum. Actually, this is the second time I'm here. I was here a couple of years ago. First of all, I want to congratulate the organizers, ISHS, I believe, and the Makkah Chamber for continuing to host the event. The topic that I have been given to discuss today is how do we drive quality-driven leadership culture in our organizations. So I'm going to briefly talk as much as I can for the next few minutes on this. We have been hearing the last couple of days, how the halal industry is growing. Many new players are coming into this sector now. Established players like Wahid are doing well now. I think we are also really witnessing a significant shift globally on the awareness of halal industry, especially in the space that we work, which is on the tourism space. We see a lot of interest from destinations wanting to understand how to cater to Muslims. So I think it's crucial that we look at this, how do we drive quality-centric leadership culture in the organizations. I think it's, from where I see, I think we need to sort of reframe quality from a different perspective, not just as a compliance issue, but embrace it as one of our core cultural values in the organizations. Look at it from our faith angle. For us, we really, in our organization, we really don't talk much about quality. We talk much about, excellence. How do we strive for excellence in our organizations? It's about ihsan, actually. So that's what, we try to do. I think, given how driving excellence is really integrated into our traditions, our faith in ihsan. So I think we should become the benchmark for excellence in the industry. But the reality is, unfortunately, in many places where we operate as Muslim companies and all that, I think there's a lot of areas that we need to improve to really drive excellence. Including our organization, we still have to do a lot more things to really, deliver excellence in whatever we do. I'm going to basically share about 3 or 4 areas that what we do at Crescent Rating and Halal Trip to try and build this excellence-focused culture within our organization. The first is changing the mindset of our company, our employees. About 10 years ago, what we did was we developed a framework, what we call the Crescent Rating Halal Trip Growth Triangle. So we developed this framework, Growth Triangle, to look at 3 areas that we want to focus. That will be our company culture to drive growth in 3 areas. One is on the company's growth. So how do we become the leaders in the space that we are in? Second is community growth. How do we grow in engaging the community, in giving back to the community? And the third is personal growth. So how do we become better versions ourselves? How do we strive for excellence in whatever we do? So we keep building this culture where whatever we do, we really need to become the best at what we are doing. So that's really how we trying to build the culture in the team, around this growth triangle that we call it. So I mean, just a bit about what we do. Crescent Rating is, alhamdulillah, the leaders in this space where we help governments and tourism boards around the world to help them to understand the Muslim travelers and to make it easier for them to cater to the Muslim travelers. So how we position our team is that the work that we do is not just a job. It's about making it easier for Muslims to travel all over the world. So our vision is to, when we started 18 years ago, is our vision is to making it easier for Muslims to explore any part of the world without compromising their faith. So that's how we started. So that's how what our team does. It's not a job for them. So they keep striving for excellence in whatever they do. The second area that we focus on in terms of striving for excellence, is driving excellence through data insights and frameworks. So I mean, if some of you know a little bit about, probably not many here, about Crescent Rating, we release some of the work that we do is on the research and research publications. We release almost about 3 to 4 reports a year on the Muslim travel market. We have released almost 30 reports during the last 10 years. One of the main reports, all the reports that we release are jointly with MasterCard for the last 10 years. And the main report that we release is called Global Muslim Travel Index, which is a report that we release annually, which ranks 150 countries on how Muslim-friendly they are based on more than 60 data sets. So coming back to my topic of data insights and frameworks. So what we have been doing to drive excellence is that we of course produce data, and we of course extract insights out of the data which we publish. But what we have been doing for the last 10 to 15 years is we try to develop frameworks and models based on these insights so that our insights are actionable both within the teams and for the industry as well. So we want to, we continue to do that. If you go to our website, we have 30 reports that you can download, but there is one document which says Crescent Rating Playbook, where we publish all our frameworks and models and tools that anybody, and it's used pretty much a lot in the academia playbook. So that's the second area, driving excellence using data insights and frameworks. The third one is, of course, technology. We always have been a technology-first company since we started. I still remember during the COVID time, everybody started using Zoom. We started using Zoom about 3 or 4 years before that. And during that time, when we say, okay, we'll have a meeting, I'll give you Zoom, everybody says, what's Zoom? We don't know Zoom. So we have been always, trying to use technology as much as we can in our work. Of course, now it's a different challenge. We are trying to move from tech first to AI first. I mean, everybody probably has to do that. And then it has its own challenges, but that's we want to integrate. I mean, in AI, they say there are three layers to it. You automate, you accelerate, and you augment, So that's where we are now in terms of using technology to continue to drive excellence in whatever we do. I mean, what we are focused now in order to drive that excellence is to document everything that we do. You have, if you want to automate, start with automation in AI, you need to document all the processes, all the workflows that you do in the company so that you can start automating. Once you start automating, you can probably accelerate and then augment as well. So that's the third area. Fourth area, that's the last one. I don't know whether it's 8 minutes or not. But anyway, I think the world is changing so fast that, what you knew yesterday is no more relevant tomorrow. So that's the world we are living, especially in AI. So what we really do is we keep a very, very close eye on what's going on in the field, because we are in the travel sector. Travel sector, the behavior of travelers change very fast. So we need to react. We need to continue to evolve what we do so that we can continue to deliver service excellence. So we do a lot of stuff in terms of social listening, doing a lot of research, live research, and we used to use external tools for social listening. Now we are building our own tools for social listening because you have the possibilities to do that. So yeah, so that's what we do. Our objective is to make it easier for Muslims to explore any part of the world without compromising their faith, values, and we do that so that they get excellent service across during their trips.
Excellent, Mr. Fazl. What I liked about you listing what are you doing to reach Ihsan, that you started with the employees, not the other way around, ending with the employees. And that's what we are seeing always in any business. They are talking about their capabilities, their excellence, their profit, their managing their clients, and then talking about their employees. So thank you considering the employees in the beginning. Now I will move to Mr. Murat, and I will ask you to have 8 minutes for your beginning, and then we will move on.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for inviting me here to the Mecca Halal Forum as well. It's a privilege to speak here in Mecca, a place that symbolizes unity, trust, and shared purpose, inshallah. So today's the topic that we are going to discuss is actually equally important for the future economic role of the Islamic world as well. So the halal economy, as we all are following up, spanning banking, capital markets, insurance, and technology, is evolving into a multi-trillion dollar global ecosystem. So it's really essential to talk about the CEOs and C-suite readiness. So I have 3 points that I would like to discuss today. So the first one is that to further develop the halal sector, CEOs should be ready to bridge the gap between committed people and technical capability. So I think this is actually an old story. On one side, we have those that deeply committed to Islamic finance, and on the other side, we have other people that are highly skilled financial professionals, but they don't have strong alignment to the ethical foundations of the Islamic economics. So many of us, actually including myself, we were educated in and trained within Western-style institutions and universities, either in our own country or abroad, in US, UK, and different parts of the world. So this background also inevitably shaped our analytical frameworks and mental models. So that's why we have to bridge that gap between those two different levels. So sustainable progress actually requires bridging this gap. And as CEOs, we have to first understand the reality and do our best to bridge that gap, I believe. So my second point is that, again, CEOs should align institutional reality and the expectations as well. So this means that no economic system can succeed without understanding the material reality, and I will give you an example in a minute about this. So I believe we must move beyond mechanically replicating Western financial forms, but without losing technical and institutional competence in the process as well. So, for example, if I have to give an example for this, I would give the Islamic banks. And why do I give Islamic banks as an example is that they are frequently criticized for relying heavily on debt-like instruments, like such as murabaha. And I can even give you that, in many countries, murabaha is like at least 90+% of the Islamic banking, revenue and the total turnover. So many wants to emphasize the risk-sharing models like Mudaraba and Musharaka, but they are not going that well, actually. So, from one perspective, you can criticize them and saying that they are not doing their job well because they are only working like a bank. And even when you say that, even in your criticism, as we can see, we are criticizing them as behaving, we are criticizing banks as behaving like banks. Because even in the Western countries, when you look at the banks, they are doing the bank's business. They are not equity shareholders. They are not doing any musharaka or minaraba like using financial tools. They have other companies, meaning like asset management companies, and those companies actually are doing that business. And this is also not merely a supply side issue, meaning that not only our banks are not supplying asset management services, but also it's demand driven, meaning that most consumers, like most of us, we also need banks for specific financing needs like housing, vehicles, trade finance, or working capital as well. So these are not same companies, and you cannot, that's my opinion actually, you cannot form them under the same umbrella. And if you look at the Western countries as well, again, these are all run by separate entities and with separate visions, missions, and strategies at the same time. My third point is that, so by combining global engagement in investment models and capital management with a Sharia-aligned global competency framework, yes, leaders may emerge at the forefront of the international halal sector. That's what I believe. But developing such a framework is therefore a strategic imperative. So when you say about global engagement, it means understanding how value is built and scaled through investment models and capital management at the same time, meaning that governance standards, capital allocation discipline, risk frameworks, incentive design, transparency, and institutional performance. But if you want to be a halal institution, you have to, this global engagement must be paired with something equally concrete, a Sharia-aligned competency framework. And if I have to give some tangible examples, I have some of them, actually 10 of them, example competencies, what I call it as a Sharia-aligned global competency wheel. And the first one is the sincerity, ikhlas, and honesty, sidq. So do the right thing for the right reasons and avoid performative ethics, report facts without distortion or omission. The second one is diligence and discipline. The third one is promise keeping. You have to honor your commitments, deadline, and contractual terms. The fourth one is justice and fairness, treating people fairly and ensure equitable treatment for all. The fifth one is compassion, support others, especially under pressure and hardship. Sixth one is ihsan and quality culture. This means moving beyond minimum compliance toward excellence in delivery and customer outcomes as well. Seventh one is the accountability, meaning that embedding responsibility, accountability, and stewardship across leadership behaviors, delegation, and governance. Eighth one, sound judgment and critical thinking. The ninth one, modesty and humility. And the 10th one is the anti-corruption. So if you look at all this, Sharia-aligned global competence framework, actually this is, when we say halal, halal is actually for humans, for everyone, not only for Muslims, for everyone, for the all populations of the all world countries. So if we can do these things, properly, I think it's it's natural to become a global leader in what you do, inshallah. So we should intentionally, I believe, direct capital toward companies that put these competencies into their operations. It's not like, when you go to some companies, you see, you ask them what's your vision and mission, and then they show you the...
one hanged on the wall.
Sorry?
The one hanged on the wall.
Yes, and they say it's over there, but no one else is aware what's written there. So you need to put into the operation all this framework as well. And so lastly, I will say, the progress in building the halal economic future will not come from one moment, but from sustained effort, disciplined institution building, and inshallah persistent vision. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So you emphasized, please. So you emphasized how to just move the belief of halal in minds to a practical actions to be embedded in the company. So moving forward, I will give the floor now to you, Mr. Junaid Wahdani, and it's all yours. Within 8 minutes, please give us your thoughts.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My topic is evidence-based leadership, and I believe there's more than enough evidence of my failures so that I'm quite an expert in this topic to speak about what we should not do as leaders through our journey and what we've learned. I set up this fintech called Wahid, let's say around 8 years ago in the US. And we've grown it from a handful of people to today a few hundred employees globally, alhamdulillah. And we've learned many things along the way. Now, initially, setting up a company, the leadership is, I would say, 110% you. You're in charge of the success, you're in charge of the failure, within reason, right? The more effort you put in, the more fuel you put in, the faster it goes, and so on and so forth. As we started expanding by countries, by functions, hiring, it's still very close. And I would say they have a rule in academia where until 9 people are reporting to you, you can manage this, right? And we felt it. So you'd have finance, tech, product, design, so on and so forth. And everyone follows a very simple hierarchy, very simple structure. It's 2 levels. And leadership is relatively straightforward. Once it starts going beyond that, that's when the problems start. And unfortunately, there was a lot of trial and error for us, right? The first mistake we made was, as we expanded to new countries, we hired very senior leadership. Now, I'm relatively young. I started this company when I was in my early 20s, right? So I hadn't really had any experience of management or leadership. So of course you like and admire people who have experiences you don't have. So I would hire someone who's very senior, very credible, with all the experience, and that was mistake number 1, actually. You should not be hiring too senior too soon. It was a big mistake we made, and we made it multiple times until I understood that just because someone's very senior doesn't mean they fit your organization, and there's more to it than just seniority, right? So that was a very big mistake. The second one was hiring people who don't share the values as you. So most of the hiring process has always been for us, especially coming from the American culture, is you do the case study, how good are you, how technical are you, how smart are you, where did you graduate from, and we wouldn't really test for values. And we learned that somehow over time we would have a lot of people leaving who by default weren't aligned with the values. So there was a lot of churn. So although they may be very smart, very talented, they don't stay very long because they have different incentives, right? A lot of people, let's say their incentive is money, they would join just to earn a quick buck, and as soon as things aren't going well, they leave. So we learned very quickly that the leaders you want to hire in your organization need to have very good values that align with the organization. Every organization has different values. We are considered very idealistic, right? So we came into the Islamic finance industry saying, oh, we can do it better. Of course, we were young, we were naive, so we think we could do everything better. Alhamdulillah, to a certain extent we did. And so those values needed to retain. And when they were lost, it caused big issues for us. eventually it came down to speed and values and governance, because unfortunately the most efficient people we found to hire were not ones with the best values, and the ones with the best values were a little bit more relaxed and not the most efficient. So it's finding the middle ground of, okay, he's a good person, he or she's a good person, but they're also efficient, and where on that spectrum do you lie, you know? And we tried everything. We went from, wow, amazing culture fit, let's hire him, didn't work out, and we went amazingly efficient and smart, and he's like a genius, didn't work out, right? So now we've come to a bit of a learning where you say, okay, we'll hire in the middle. You have to share the values, and you have to be good enough, and you have to be proactive enough, and you have to care enough, and that embodies in the organization. And this is a lot of trial and error. You know, there's a platform called, I think it's called Glassdoor or something, where people can rate you, like employees can rate your organization. We've gone from being, you know, over 4 stars, which is really good, to like 1 point something, then back to 4. So we've really tried every spectrum of the culture fit, right? Now again, going back to, you know, me being young and not really having a leadership role before, just being right place, right time. Alhamdulillah, we set up Wahid, it did well. Eventually it came to a point where we said, you know, we need someone who's done this before, who's led this sort of growth organization, a fintech, and we hired someone, his name's Mohsin, to be my COO, right, to run the organization so I can do all the fun stuff, all the strategy and, you know, everything I like to do, and he does all the boring operational things, and he's done it before, so you need that person. I'd say a few months after he joined, it was so clear to me and everyone that he's basically doing my job better than me, and he should be CEO. So it comes to a point where we need to have a very clear understanding of why are certain people in certain positions, what are we trying to achieve, and we can't let ego get in the way, right? So I immediately went to our board and I said, look, he's doing my job, he should be CEO, it shouldn't be me. And so Mohsin was appointed CEO around 1.5 years ago, because it doesn't make sense for, you know, me asking him, hey Mohsin, what do you think we should do here, and just doing what he's like. He's clearly the one with more experience who's done this before. Of course, he's much older. His background, he was, you know, leading really successful growth fintechs, Oanda, which is a global brokerage firm, Comply Advantage, all very, very successful. So he joined us, but he also has the values because he comes, you know, from like a practicing Muslim background. He really cared about the problems. He felt it. He wanted to solve it. So it was a very good fit. Now he's very technical, very operational, right? So Mohsin comes in and he instills all these new processes. Everything is, you know, OKR, so objectives and key results. Everyone has a deliverable. Every 3 months they're going to be measured, and I don't care what you did, why you did it, did you achieve it or not? Everyone becomes a number, okay, which is the opposite of how I ran things. So for me, it's, you know, very, I feel like doing this, we feel we should do that. It's very guts or, you know, feeling oriented. As an entrepreneur, you are quite subjective and risk taking in your approach. So that was the other side of the spectrum. So we learned that doesn't really work very, very well either in the long term. So the business is doing amazing, but no one's happy. You know, everyone's saying, wait, but you're supposed to be this super Islamic organization. Why are you so cutthroat and only numbers oriented, you know? So then it goes back to the values conversation. And we learned that, you know, there's place for both. I need to be there instilling values and culture. He needs to be there perfecting the technical objective results. And here's the key point. When there is a clash between taking a decision based on performance and based on values and culture, one of them has to always prevail, and we have chosen that the values should prevail. So we have taken many decisions today that are because they make more ethical, Islamic, and values-driven sense rather than financial sense. They don't make good financial sense. And that, we learned, has actually served us well. So we're a bit on this side of the spectrum. So we've reached that balancing point, and we're a bit more, you know, on this side. So in essence, to summarize, we learned a lot. The entire journey of 8 years has been mistakes in leadership. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think now we've learned what works, what doesn't work. Today we have 10, you know, countries we're in, hundreds of employees. It's quite a relatively large institution, alhamdulillah. And things are very smooth, and I feel we've hit a very good balance. So that is what I would say is very important in values-based leadership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure that journey wasn't that easy. It is very difficult to measure values and to embed them in comparison with the competences. But we will learn and listen from you more about this in the round of questions. Now I will start my first question to Mr. Fazl. Mr. Fazl, you on the talent growth and the ethical leadership. How does fostering a mindset of ihsan create a sustainable culture where quality is viewed as an ethical mandate rather than a technical requirement?
Yeah, I think it is important that your team understands why they do what they do, because unless they know why they are doing what they do, they will, I think Junaid also mentioned, Murad mentioned, I think culture is so important. Building a culture that aligns with what we are trying to do is so important, I think. So for us, our vision has been always, to make sure that we can make Muslims travel without a worry. So that is, brainwashed into our organization, because that's what we do. Between now and the next 4.5, 5 years, Muslims will make more than 1 billion international trips. 1 billion international trips. And what we tell our teams is that everything that they do has a direct impact on their trips. Whether they can eat halal food when they travel, whether they can find a prayer place when they travel. That's, a lot of people probably don't know, but that's the reality, because we work with a lot of governments to make sure, especially non-Muslim governments, to make sure that, they make all these services available when Muslims come. So I think that's what we are trying to embrace in our organization. And within that space, so they're not just doing a job, so it's not a job that they're doing. Of course, they get paid for doing their job, but I think it's important to make them understand it's beyond your job. You are really, every traveler who is making a trip, you have some reward for what you're doing, just beyond your paycheck at the end of the month. So that, I think, is the culture that we have been trying to build. Alhamdulillah, we, as, I have to, empathize with Junaid. We also tried once in a way, not as much as Junaid, getting older, experienced people, and it was an utter failure. So currently, if I take myself out of my team, the average age is about 23, 24. They are very motivated to do what they want to do, build a better place for Muslims to travel. So I think, it takes some work to sort of build that kind of culture. So, we say it, our third pillar of growth is, strive for ihsan. That's what we keep reminding them every other month. So we remind them every month why we are doing what we are doing, so that they understand. So alhamdulillah, we currently, we have very less churn, I think you need to just as Junaid said, we only now recruit fresh graduates, and then we give them internship for 4 months, and if they are good, they want to stay with us, we want to keep them, we turn them into full-time employees, because we have now learned that's the only way that we can build a strong culture of what we want to do. And when the time comes, very soon, hopefully, inshallah, when I move out, there is a team who can run the show, who are young and motivated.
Excellent. Moving to you, Mr. Murad. You have outlined a list of competences. How can we measure the competences of the companies?
Thank you. Well, actually, as the culture question, I think we all talk about the same thing. The committed people and the technical ability is the same problem all over the world. So if I come to your question, I think that's a fundamental question because a competency framework, if you don't put into operations and if you don't verify them, is actually a wishful thinking. Even if you are the CEO of the company or the boss of the company, and then you think that the values are already in operation and it's shared with your team, you never know if that's really the case. So in this sense, the competencies must move from aspiration to architecture, and that has to be verifiable actually. And that means an independent assurance or audit layer has to come on top of that. And you need to go through that kind of audit mechanism, let's say in every 3 months, in 6 months, or in every 12 months, like you do with the independent audits of financials of your companies. So as far as this, in my country, we don't have, right now in Turkey, we don't have that kind of audit mechanism. So it all depends if it's just you try, and inshallah you are successful, but nobody verifies it. So that's why I think that's very important, and inshallah in the near future those kinds of regulations, governance mechanisms are all put into place so that we all know that if the company is really a verified halal operating company or not. For example, I can give you an example for this. So there are funds around the world, and when you work with them, they tell you that they have, so you ask them, are you halal operating, are you Sharia compliant? They say, we have a Sharia compliance paper. So that's the trick. So you ask the Sharia compliant paper, you read it, and then you look at their operations, and you can easily find that they are not operating according to that Sharia compliant paper. So you tell them, and they say, well, this is the best we could do. We have the paper. At least we have it. Yeah, at least we have the paper. So that shouldn't continue, inshallah. So somebody has to tell them, other than me or their customers, that you are not Sharia compliant or Sharia compliant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to Junaid, during your journey, okay, how does a value-driven executive mindset shape C-suite readiness and long-term strategy capacity in a global financial institution?
So, when we say C-suites, for us as a fintech, because we're technology and finance, you have the CEO, you have compliance, you have the chief technology officer, you have chief business development, and then you have the head of marketing, head of product, and so on and so forth, right? Everyone has their own organizations under them, and they talk to them every day, and they don't really, talk that much to the rest of the organization. It is very important for each one of the C-suite members to instill the values you want in your entire organization, because it's almost like they're running their own business. So in the technology world, there's always an issue with the tech team, right? Like all founders know this. Like tech don't talk to anyone, they don't want to talk to anyone, they do their own thing. It's their own culture. So we need to make sure that what values we want as an institution are instilled and understood by the C-suite. So what we've learned to do is actually involve the C-suite in almost every decision, just so that they understand how and why we're taking certain decisions. Everyone comes from a different background. It's not fair to assume everyone takes the same values-based decision. One thing we've very recently implemented, which is really weird actually, is we've expanded the mandates of our Sharia department to make it more of a Sharia and ethics department and be involved in every single decision happening across the firm. So I'm talking about, let's say the portfolio team wants to take a decision, the ethics and Sharia team is involved in it just as oversight, so they can flag anything that they feel might not be quote-unquote ethical. Because there's actually a big gray area when it comes to Sharia compliance. Like something might be Sharia compliant, but it might not be ethical. It's hard to explain, but this happens a lot. where the Sharia board's like, yeah, that's fine, but you're saying, wait a minute, that's so bad. That's so unethical. So we've really expanded them, and all the departments now converge to have that. So it's almost like the Sharia boards has extended policing power, because usually in financial institutions you go to the Sharia board whenever you need an approval, like you were saying, you need the paper, so you go to get the stamp, and then you go to them, you tell them exactly how much you want them to know, and they give you the paper, and then the rest that's how every Islamic bank works, every single one of them. Okay, and it's a bit sad, but it is what it is.
Focusing especially on you will let them know what you want them to know.
That's exactly, you won't believe how much we've known. I mean, the amount of bankers I meet in Islamic banks saying, oh, if the Sharia board knew this, they would never approve. What? Anyways, that's very normal, right? So for us, we've allowed the Sharia team, it's an internal team, it's not even the Sharia board, the Sharia and ethics team, to have like policing ability to go see everything, check anything, anywhere in the organization to make sure it's with values. I don't think anyone else really does this, but we're a little extra, when it comes. Because too many times the Sharia board is fine with stuff. They say, yeah, don't worry, we'll give you an exemption. I say, we don't want an exemption. We want to be Sharia, like we want the whole thing to be, ethical and Sharia compliant. So I think there's different ways to instill values amongst the C-suite. But that's what we've done, and we're still learning how to perfect it, so to speak.
Yes. Mr. Fazl, at your speech, you talked about 4 main pillars. The second one, to perform ihsan and to reach ihsan. The second one is excellence in using data. So how can C-suite leaders benefit from their data to comply with the models of the GMTI and the ACES? How could these frameworks help C-suites to perform and to transition, to do the transition into the ihsan and to halal?
Yeah. Thanks. So, of course, we are in the travel sector. So all what we do are for the travel sector. I think, I mentioned data insights and frameworks. Data is plenty out there. We don't know what data we have as well. I think for a long time we were talking about data-driven decisions making. I don't know what happens to that. But I think what we have been trying to do always is especially now it's becoming, your attention spans are very low now. Yeah, you cannot sort of give them a whole bunch of data and say, make your decisions. So what we have been doing is, extracting, we have probably the most comprehensive data on Muslim consumer market today, demographics, behaviors, when especially come to travel. Some of them we have published for public access as well. So what we have been consistently trying to do is to make it easier for the industry to action this data, and especially we are in a space that 20 years ago, if you talk about halal travel or Muslim travel, nobody would give you some time. So we had to make it easier because we are dealing with an industry which is mainly run by non-Muslims who do not know much about the Muslim travelers and all that, in many parts of the world. So our objective was to make it easier for them, break down all those myths, break down those barriers, make it easier for them, and that's how we started to formulate models so that it's easier for them to embrace what they do. Giving them just data and insights was not enough. Data was critical in the very beginning, but currently most of the so we have developed many models now, and they are being used in the academia a lot. ACES is a model that so as I mentioned, GMTI is the Global Muslim Travel Index. We rank countries, 150 countries on how Muslim friendly they are. It's the most known travel ranking report in the world. There are beyond the Muslim market today, actually. So we, about 10 years ago, we said, look, we want to build a model around this ranking system, which is to make it easier for governments to understand how we rank countries. So we came up with this model called ACES, So A stands for access. So we measure how easy for Muslims to access the destination. We look at visa requirements, we look at flight connections, all bunch of stuff, all on access. C is for communication. How is the country communicating to the Muslims about their services? E is the environment. How good is the environment when it comes to safety and all that. And services is on all the Muslim-friendly services. Do they have a halal restaurant? Do they have masajid? So we built this model, and now this model is actually studied in academia, and there are many. If you go to Google Scholar and type in GMTI, there are many papers written on that. So I think and that encouraged us to do whatever we come up in insights and research. We now build frameworks, because that's the best way to drive actionable actions from governments and businesses. So I think I encourage all of you to go and download Crescent Rating Playbook. We publish all our models, especially if you're in the travel sector.
Excellent. That's great. Mr. Murad, how can halal investment models remain authentic to their ethical foundations while competing in highly sophisticated world? Globally, financial markets are very sophisticated.
Yes, I agree. It's very sophisticated, and it's actually getting even more sophisticated. And I think one of the fundamental misunderstanding in discussion on Islamic economics and finance actually lies in how we perceive Islamic tradition and schools of thought. Unfortunately, they are often treated as fixed list of conclusions, and we have often focused on replication and formal compliance, meaning that some scholar has made a point like 800 years ago, and if that applies to here or not. And some of us wants, that's I think also fair, but some of us wants to comply with it, and some of us wants to think if that's still applicable today, if that was the essence of that rule coming from Quran or Sunnah or Ijtihad later on. So I believe in reality Islamic schools of thought are methodological frameworks, and the methods are about how evidence is evaluated, how reason is used, how public interest maslaha is weighed, how custom, meaning urf, is incorporated, and how literal or interpretive the reading of the text should be. So that's why I think we should apply the methodologies, not the verdicts and the rules that were given by the scholars that lived like 100 years ago, but using their methodologies, we should find our new ways for all these new sophisticated financial tools actually.
Yes. Junaid, let's delve now to a more practical experience. Now, developing an evidence-based training is not an easy process, especially when it comes on ethics and something that is not tangible and not easy to measure. So what is your experience in Wahidi to do this kind of development?
Sure. So, when you talk about evidence-based, there's a whole life cycle of an employee, right? And it starts with hiring.
Yes.
So when we hire now, we, for every single role, have a case study. So it used to not be like that. It used to be CV interviews, and everyone interviews differently. Now everyone has to run a simulation, an actual real-world simulation of a challenge we face, and it specifically incorporates an ethical judgment that's required. So we see how they think and how they take the decision. Now the answer, like most case studies, isn't actually deterministic. It's not one right answer. We want to see how they think, how they approach the problem, how their ethical compass aligns when they're faced with something like that, right? And we've started that, I'd say, for the past year, and it's working very, very well. Second is ongoing. So we have quarterly reviews with staff. Everyone has an objective, everyone has key results. Now before, if you just say, okay, did you meet your target or not, it's very binary, but there's more to it. So now what we started doing, because it ended up being some really good employees were not hitting the targets, it doesn't mean you terminate them, you know? So we realized what's actually happening is we need to figure out why they're taking certain decisions. So now in our quarterly review process, we've incorporated the question, okay, why did you do this? Like, what was your intention? Why did you make the mistake? And a lot of times, we're coming to find that we would have done the same thing. It's because of the values we want in our organization that they're taking certain decisions. That means they don't do certain things, and we're proud of it. And I'll give you a very blunt example, like a real example. You know, we have one person who's in charge of launching countries, and they were supposed to launch a country in a certain amount of time. It came and they didn't, right? So we said, why didn't you launch the country? This is bad, you didn't meet your targets. And so usually you'd say, okay, you know, you're not doing your job, get someone else. But when we went to actually understand why, it turns out that the regulator of this country, because there's a lot of, you know, emerging markets doing a lot of shady stuff, so the regulator asked for a bribe to get the license. And he said no. And so then they jammed our application, you know. So we would 100 times over not get the license than bribe someone. You know, that is not in our value system. So you can't judge an employee just by has he hit a target or not. It's why did you not hit that target? So I think evidence is good, but it has to be deep evidence. It can't just be like yes or no evidence, and that's what we've learned.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. That's very clear. Okay, back to you for the last round of question, Mr. Fadl. And you mentioned, or you talked about technology and enforcing technology and AI in quality. So how can leaders leverage AI agents and automations within their documented processes to ensure that quality-driven services is making their businesses benefiting from their data?
Yeah, I think it's a scary subject as well, what AI is doing. But I think we have no other possibility now other than to embrace AI as much as we can. And it's a tough thing for a smaller company to embrace AI fully. But you know, if you want to continue to improve what you do, continue to be relevant in the industry, you have to embrace AI. So what we and also, you know, embracing AI doesn't mean that you know, the people are going to lose jobs. Of course, that may happen, may not happen. Everybody has different views on that. But what we try to do in our teams is, in our journey, that if you want to be relevant 3-4 years from now, we need to embrace these technologies. Otherwise, we probably won't be there in 2-3 years. So we are, you know, obsessed now currently with documenting all what we do. You know, we use a lot of tools. I don't know how many tools we use. Many tools to document all the processes. I mean, our focus now is mainly internally using AI for internal efficiencies, you know, workflows, automating workflows internally. So we are really obsessed with documenting all the processes that we do. And some of the things that we have done now we have automated it. It allows us to now accelerate the process. For instance, we do rating of hotels on how Muslim friendly they are. You know, that's how the name Crescent Rating comes. You know, we rate hotels in many parts of the world, brand name hotels. So that whole process of hotel applying to us to get rated, and we going through the whole process of auditing and that, and then giving them a rating takes about 5 to 6 weeks. Now we are now building the automation which will reduce it to almost probably 4-5 days actually. The whole process, you know, you still need manual intervention, but the whole process goes from 5 to 6 weeks to 5 to 6 days, you know. So I think, it's a challenge for SMEs, smaller companies, to integrate AI into the systems, but I don't see how we can do without, actually. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is actually. And a company working in the industry of traveling and the equality of that company is not so easy. Given that there is a rapid changes in customers' attitudes and trends and value and plans, actually, even though. So how do you organize it?
Yeah, for instance, now, how you book a hotel is changing rapidly. You used to go to booking.com or Agoda or Halal Booking. Our friend was there, Ufuk, yesterday. And very soon that will change because, the LLMs or, all your AI agents will do it for you. You won't know from which site you booked your hotel, actually. It's coming very soon, and ChatGPT announced new things. So I think, so it's a struggle. In the travel industry, it's probably the most disrupted industry, it's really getting disrupted every day, So this is why my last point was, we need to keep our eyes right to the ground to understand what's going on. So that's what we do. It's really, we are really, in the travel industry, we are probably in a stage of disruption that we have never, ever seen before. But inshallah, we'll survive.
Yeah, it's not easy, but congratulations that you are doing this equality. Okay, my question to you, Mr. Murad. Do you see emerging technologies like artificial intelligence as a risk or an opportunity for halal investors?
Okay, as a technology guy by heart, I've spent my 2/3 of my career in technology sector. I would say that AI is a huge opportunity, and actually, instead of telling my own opinions, I have the similar opinions with the Elon Musk. And recently, he said, "I'm going to read from here very quickly." So he says that the entire system is about to break, and nothing can stop it. AI and robotics aren't generating growth; they are destroying the scarcity framework economics depends on. So he's saying something very fundamental, actually. It will hit us like a supersonic tsunami. Production compounds exponentially, money supply grows linearly, productivity sustaining permanent double-digit expansion. Numbers that sound impossible becoming baseline, not evolution, replacement. And he says the prices will collapse hard because there won't be any scarcity, actually. So this is actually when you listen to this and hearing this, not maybe for the next 4 to 5 years time frame, because it will take some time, but I would say in the next 10 years, the universal, because we were talking about universal low income in some countries that governments may pay. Now he's talking about universal high income, actually. So that's why I think there is no turning back from here, and AI will change the world in the next 10 years more than any technology has changed the world in the last 2,000 years, I believe. So yes, we should comply with it, and we should try to be at the forefront of AI technology, innovation, and everything. Yes.
Excellent. Mr. Junaid, how has Wahid's global investment approach and capital management strategy informed C-suite's readiness to engage internationally within the halal and ethical finance ecosystem?
So, as I alluded to earlier, we learned quite early on not to hire too senior. So our capital strategy has been very interesting. So we are one of the very few companies or startups that refuses to take preferred stock. So most startups, basically investors invest saying, I have preference to other shareholders. This, according to IOFI and most of the world, is not Sharia compliant, so we don't do it, right? So it's very hard for us to raise money. So raising any institutional money from private equity firms, VC firms, is almost impossible. So that's given us a scarcity mentality almost of being very organic. We have to make sure we can survive no matter what. So our C-suite is built around this. Everything is built to sustain, you know, at a flick of a switch. So for example, our chief technology officer is also our head of product. You know, our chief compliance officer is also the head of the Sharia team I was mentioning earlier. So it's very, very lean. Usually, if you're a high growth scale up like we are, you know, we grow 100% a year, we're very big, it's incredibly, alhamdulillah, doing quite well. You'd hire very senior people, a lot of positions, but we're not doing that. We're keeping it extremely lean. You know, also like Mr. Murad mentioned, with AI coming in, what we see is even though we're growing so fast, our employee count is actually going down because we can automate everything. And eventually, like before, it used to be a stamp of success if you can have 1 million clients with only 100 employees. Like that's how efficient you are, imagine, right? So Robinhood in America did that and everyone was like, wow, you can service 1 million employees with 100 staff. So we think that's going to be possible for everyone soon with automation. It's going to be very straightforward, and so you don't need to overhire. It's much harder, and that's really our approach based on these different capital reasons.
Excellent. Okay, in brief, because we are out of time right now, they just informed me, how, from your experience, how can embedding ethics at the C-suite enable scale and growth?
Okay, so in our industry specifically, we are in the Islamic finance industry, our clients are predominantly Muslim. What we've learned is that genuine values always show, you can't hide it, right? So even though it doesn't make economic sense, it doesn't make business sense, when the C-suite takes a genuine values-based decision, the community somehow finds out about it, and that goodwill actually adds to the bottom line. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. So, in the end of this session, thanks a lot for you. It was a very fruitful and informative session about what you are doing, how you are doing ihsan, how you are doing the ethics, how you are performing at your businesses practically, and as a CEOs yourselves, how you embedded the halal from a different angle that we are usually experiencing in such forums. So thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for sharing all your information. And thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening to us. Thank you.
شكرا لضيوفنا الكرام على ما قدموه من رؤى استراتيجية ملهمة، ولمدير الجلسة على إدارته المتميزة. ويتفضل الآن الأستاذ أحمد الرحابي المدير التنفيذي للعلاقات العامة والاتصال المؤسسي لمبادرة منافع لتكريم مدير ومحاوري الجلسة. حضورنا الكرام، استراحة قصيرة لأداء صلاة العصر. حضورنا الكرام، نرحب بكم في هذه الجلسة الحوارية السابعة بعنوان نجاح دولي بناء القدرات في البوسنة والهرسك لدعم نمو الاقتصاد الحلال. تتناول في هذا الحوار تجربة البوسنة والهرسك في تطوير البنية المؤسسية وبناء القدرات وتعزيز حضورها في المنظومة الاقتصادية الحلال العالمية. ويتفضل مدير الجلسة الأستاذ كونر مورفي للترحيب بضيفه وإدارة النقاش.
Welcome everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، أيها الحضور الكرام, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the greeting of peace and good afternoon to all of you. It is my true honor that we have this session to moderate, which is titled The Country's Success, Bosnia and Herzegovina Capacity Building for Halal Economic Growth. It's my distinct honor to welcome on stage now the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Mr. Elmedin Konakovic. So we begin in the name of Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu wassalatu ala ashrafi mursaleen wa khatimin nabiyyin Muhammad wa alihi wa ahli baytihi tahirin wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma barik juhudina fi ta'ziz wa tatwir al-iqtisad al-hilal. Waj'alna sababan في رفعه إلى مستوى العالمي ونفعه للناس أجمعين مسلمين وغير المسلمين. Amen. Today, we explore how a European nation with deep historical and cultural identity and with a modern diplomatic ambition aimed to position itself as a European halal hub, not as a niche participant, but rather as a strategic contributor to the global halal economy. Your Excellency, I welcome you here to the Mecca Halal Forum. We are honored to have your presence and grateful for taking the time to partake in this key leaders talk. I just want to give a brief introduction to who you are, because he's had, I would say, illustrious and distinguished career and diverse career. So His Excellency began his career as a professional basketball player.
As you can see.
Hence the height. And very successful. He was the captain of the main, most prominent basketball team in Sarajevo, KK Bosna, which at one time won the European Cup. Yeah. In your time or before you?
Before, actually.
And later he also played in other professional clubs around Europe, Romania, Hungary, I think Slovenia. And later he served in leadership roles as the director of the national basketball team and the president of the Basketball Association. And from that leadership beginning, he then transitioned into politics. Starting in 2014, he was elected to the Assembly of Sarajevo Canton, which is the province. And the following year, he became the Prime Minister of that Sarajevo Canton, which is the province, not the federal level, but the province. 2019, he became a member of the Federal House of Peoples. In 2022, Federal House of Representatives. And he's also established his own political party, Narod I Pravda, which means people and justice. So he's had a long, distinguished career in politics. And that culminates in his most recent and current role, which in January 2023, he was appointed as the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I would like to open the questioning here now. We have about 20 minutes to discuss with His Excellency. So Bosnia applied to join the EU in 2016 and became a candidate country in 2022. And currently, there are accession negotiations going on. So as we stand today, Bosnia is not a member of the EU. But we heard yesterday discussion that Bosnia could be a bridge country for Gulf capital, OIC capital, to enter the EU market. So investors may ask, Your Excellency, is what are the specific benefits that Bosnia can give international investors to enter the EU market, given that they don't have the full EU status? Are there other benefits such as reduced tariffs or other markets that you have access to that you can share with us?
First of all, thank you so much for this interesting introduction. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is really a great honor to be here today. This is the third Makkah Forum. It looks really impressive. I'm coming from Munich conference, so I can compare. It's really good. And I'm really happy to discuss today some opportunities in my country. Maybe you know, maybe you remember that my country suffered a lot in the past. We had horrible war, aggression actually. We suffered a genocide in Srebrenica, actually United Nations protected zone. And this region, especially Saudi Arabia and some other countries, helped us a lot during the war and actually after the war, recovering and reconstructing Bosnia and Herzegovina. And first of all, I want to thank to all of you for supporting and helping my country when we needed the help. Today, we don't need help anymore. Today, we have opportunities, we have bright future, we have ideas, we have projects. We applied for the full membership in United Europe because economically, that is the most important goal for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Geographically, we have the longest border with Croatia, which is a Schengen European Union border. Our export goes 93% of our products, actually, we are exporting to European Union. It's 73% to member states and 20% to the regional market. And it's really important to underline that all regional countries are candidate countries for European Union. So that shows economically the importance of full membership in European Union. They granted in 2023 conditionally the official start of negotiations. And I hope till the end of March we will officially start. So that means that we will open the door. They are now also open, but we will widely open the door of European Union, strong and big single market with 500 million consumers. Geographically, we can say that Bosnia is really connecting East and West because of our geographical position, but also because of excellent relations with this part of the world. We have traditional, we have religious, we have cultural, we have economical ties with the countries from the GCC region and some other Islamic countries. We are also observer in OIC and we are participating in all. I already had 2 ministerial meetings with OIC members. And we have several examples actually to explain why and how Bosnia can be a kind of hub for the investors from this region. Infrastructure and geographical position is probably the most important. And we have some other ideas, probably we will discuss this in our conversation.
So can I bring this question to the concept of nearshoring? So since 2020, during the COVID, there's been a shift globally to focus on onshoring and nearshoring. And maybe you can explain what that means in the context of Bosnia. So how does that make it a bridge for Gulf? Well, let's start with international companies wanting to set up operations, because Bosnia already has some industrial capacity to speak of. maybe the need for foreign investors to upgrade, technological transfer, etc. So if we could go along that, are there some, maybe not EU market, but other markets where maybe in the Balkans that you have market access to, which are tariff-free or low tariffs that you can speak of?
Excellent question. So we already have some agreements. We have a CEFTA agreement. That's a Central European Free Trade Agreement. And it's 27 million consumers, big market. It's really effective. We have a big volume trade with these countries also. What is the advantage actually? Bosnia we have really skilled laborers, let's say. Operational costs comparing with other countries are really, let's say, positive. They are really interesting. We are the only country in the region, I think, still exporting electricity. And of course, I will go back in infrastructure. If you produce something in Bosnia-Herzegovina, by car, by trucks, by bus, you will be like in 4 or 5 hours in Zagreb, 6, 7 hours Ljubljana, 8 hours Vienna. So you will be in European capitals really fast. With these advantages, labor advantages, because we have really solid educational system also, producing skilled people. So this is at the beginning already a kind of advantage to invest in Bosnia-Herzegovina. If we talk about halal industry, which is really a big opportunity, we have a sentence in the history of Bosnia-Herzegovina regarding economy: we never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. So this is an opportunity that we want to take, to bring some investors with the technology, partners with the knowledge, of course investors with the money, and because of geography, skilled laborers, operational costs, I think we can do a lot of things together. So regarding European integrations, we already have some advantages, you know, but of course we need to fulfill some alignment with European Union to adapt to more laws and to elect chief negotiator. This is a technical issue, and I think we will officially start negotiations, I don't know, in the middle of maybe June, maybe April, maybe we will see. Why is this important? What is European Union also is doing? We have excellent examples with the previous Eastern Bloc countries. Let's say Poland. They took like 250 billion support from cohesion and other funds for agriculture only. Actually, they had 84 billion support from European Union. And that also is helping to produce. That's excellent position inside of European Union, but not only European Union. Today, Poland is, for example, is first, I think, Apple exporter in the world. So these advantages are really something that Bosnia needs. We are a small market, 3 million consumers, small country, but if we open the door, and I hope we will really soon, that brings a lot of opportunities to all of us together.
So you mentioned technological transfer that could be brought in to make the industrial capacity more advanced. Because one of the things that we discussed yesterday in a previous session is that majority of the large exporters of halal products are actually from non-Muslim countries. So China, India, Brazil, Russia, and the United States. So that indicates the demand is from the population of Muslims, but the production capacity and quality, which is where we've been talking about in this forum, but moving away from halal compliance to halal excellence. And so it'd be really interesting for investors, I will pitch on behalf of Bosnia now, for investors in the Gulf to be able to look at these opportunities as a landing post. But in terms of the cost structure in Bosnia, in terms of manufacturing, is it also effective for investors to consider if they're targeting the EU market specifically?
It is actually probably the first goal. We have some positive regulation also in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Actually, the taxes for the investors, the profit taxes at the end of the year is only 10%. So that's probably the biggest advantage comparing to the region and also some European countries. That was one of the main reasons why people invested in Bosnia-Herzegovina. If you also have low operational costs, if you have productive and really skilled laborers, if you have geographically approach to European Union, like with only few hours. That puts all together actually as a big advantage to Bosnia and Herzegovina. There is also one more important issue. We already have a halal industry, probably the best organization in the region. We have halal agencies. The people from Islamic community also are doing excellent job. So this is already working in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now we need to develop the industry, to bring investors, to work all together, and especially because of the more than 20 million consumers in European Union. The non-Muslim countries are investors, they're producing, but the consumers are mostly, of course, Muslims, and that is a target that we should actually approach all together. I think this is really, this can be a positive story.
So let's come to another sector now, the halal tourism. So this is something, we had a speaker yesterday from halalbooking.com. And on their website, they have lots of opportunities for Muslim-conscious tourists to visit Bosnia. They're really advanced. And I also mentioned yesterday that it's amazing how many of the non-Muslim international travelers come to Bosnia and appreciate these halal hotels, etc. So that's a very interesting development. But given that the natural geography and beauty of the country, obviously tourism must be a very big priority for you in terms of expanding that and making it more aware globally. Could you speak more about that?
Halal tourism is a really important part of the halal industry in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We had last year more than 2 million visitors during the year. We have these, I'd say, pressures from European Union to align our visa regime and foreign policy actually activities because we signed a contract with European Union. And we had problems in actually aligning visa regime and actually putting the people from this region on visa regime. And then we found out how to solve this issue. We are removing visas during the season from the June 1st till the end of September. And we are now planning to remove the visas also during the winter because, I don't know, do you remember that Sarajevo has had Olympic Games, Winter Olympic Games in '84? We have 2 beautiful ski centers and only 13 minutes from downtown, from Sarajevo by car. You are only in half of hour and beautiful ski center, one or the other. Jahorina or Bjelašnica, Igman also. Those mountains, especially Igman, we have the best quality of the air in Europe. This is the concentration, perfect concentration of ozone in the air. So all these advantages actually connected with the halal tourism can be a huge potential. We need investments we need more hotels during the season when we have especially Sarajevo Film Festival or other activities. We need more actually hotels in the Sarajevo. We have interests already. We have some investors coming to develop this story also. So halal tourism is a really important part of the halal industry.
To add to that, for investors, they do look at a risk profile when they look into investments. And therefore, there's probably a difference between the actual risk of investing in Bosnia versus the perceived risk. So could tourism become like an investment-led kind of strategy to familiarize investors to be aware, to reduce that psychological or cultural barrier that they might have at first glance, to make them aware, and then that leads on to opportunities thereon. Is there a linkage in your strategy, in your economic diplomacy, to link these two, the tourism to actual investment opportunities?
Yes, of course. It's an excellent story about Sarajevo, if you come to Sarajevo in the downtown, actually the old part of Sarajevo, Baščaršija, you can see the star, which actually means that one side of the city is constructed during the Ottoman Empire. The other one was constructed during the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So you can see these differences, and also you can see with your eyes how Sarajevo is connecting East and West. Tourism is really important industry. We are breaking the records every single year. We had the best results last year, and now we started already with really excellent results. We have the second fastest growing airport in Europe. Sarajevo now is, by percentage, of course, Tirana, I think, is #1. We are #2 in Europe, so that shows the potential of the tourism. There is really important a fact that people from this region, to be honest, we still have a lot of Islamophobia all over Europe. We have this politically right wing growing in some serious countries, and actually fighting hard migration. And of course, they are really often crossing the red lines, accusing Muslims for some things that we don't do, and actually our religion forbids. And in Sarajevo, if you come with your family, you will see a lot of mosques. You will see, people relaxed. You will never feel in the heart of Europe. I'm showing to my colleagues from European Union, almost every meeting I'm showing the map of Europe, because we want to show that we are in the heart of Europe. We are not European backyard. Also, some interesting facts that we had the first tram in Europe. So we had the water infrastructure in Sarajevo 100 years ago, when some developed European countries were behind us, let's say. So this is something that we need to reorganize, to be clear. And for that, we need friends and we need investors and tourism. You have other parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina. You have probably the most beautiful part is Una Sana Canton. That's the place where actually Sarajevo the Bosnia and Herzegovina has the border with Croatia. You have beautiful rivers. Many people from this region, they're traveling to Una Sana. Mostar is one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. The old bridge story is also really impressive and really historical. So tourism is really an important part of the economy in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but not the only one. Maybe the biggest potential, the huge potential we have in agriculture. We have perfect conditions, but to be honest, we don't use actually the opportunities and the advantage of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Maybe that is a field where all of us together can do really some good things.
So I started by saying that Bosnia is not a niche participant in the global halal economy, but it's a strategic contributor. And I think Bosnia, especially under your leadership, is very open to building that relationship with Europe and also across the Atlantic as well. So it's a very open country for business and investors. And I just want to give you now the final word that you would want to share with Saudi or Gulf or OIC investors as to what would be they expect to see if they come in and visit Bosnia and invest, and whether it's profitable for their investments.
They can see a serious, beautiful country, organized halal industry concept with the serious numbers, but also serious plans. I don't have time actually to make a presentation of all activities that we have in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And actually we are promoting the country also. We participated already in London Halal Forum in 2025. We are today here in Makkah Halal Forum. We have plans actually to establish European Halal Business Forum in Sarajevo in 26 and 27. And of course we will organize the BIH Halal Pavilion in 26. And we want to show actually traveling all around the world all positive effects of investing in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We had great results last year in tourism. Many people from this region, they already actually visited Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's the first message. Come, you are welcomed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. You are our brothers and sisters and friends. You should see the really beautiful part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, parts, excellent, beautiful nature, like really people that will welcome you, all of you. You will feel free to walk and to do whatever you want to do in the heart of Europe without any kind of signs of Islamophobia or some other bad messages. And of course, on economical side, we already spoke about these advantages that Bosnia is offering today. One more time, I want to thank you for the support and help during the war and after the war. But now we are inviting you as our partners to work together to establish some common projects actually, to show the knowledge and technology to the rest of the world, and to use this advantage actually to approach 20+ million consumers in European Union, but not only European Union. We sent good messages to European Union also with the fact that in the last 3-4 years we had zero security issues with removing the visas for the citizens from this region. And that actually puts European Union to think probably, and we hope that they will also remove visas for European Union. That also shows that our cooperation can bring some really positive results.
So Bosnia, being an open country, being one that has been a leader, I would say, in halal compliance and certification, especially in Europe. And I think with the capacity that it has and with foreign investment, you could see a much brighter future. And I do think that sets the scene that how Bosnia, even though it's not within OIC, but it can actually, from a government level, build a strategy to expand the halal economy within it and also serve other countries as a landing bridge to the EU. So I thank you for those words. I appreciate you spending the time with us and gracing us with your presence here today. So I just asked for the audience to give a warm round of applause to our distinguished guest, His Excellency, Mr. Konakovic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
شكرا لضيوفنا الكرام على ما قدموه. ويتفضل الآن الأستاذ أحمد الرحبي المدير التنفيذي للعلاقات العامة والاتصال المؤسسي لمبادرة منافع لتكريم مدير ومحاور الجلسة. حضورنا الكرام، نرحب بكم في الجلسة الثامنة التي تعكس التحول الرقمي وتأثير الإعلام الجديد في صناعة الحلال، بعنوان من التأثير إلى الريادة: دور المؤثرين كرواد أعمال في قطاع الحلال في زمن أصبحت فيه المنصات الرقمية قوة تأثيرية عالمية. يناقش ضيوفنا كيف يمكن للمؤثرين الانتقال من الصناعة إلى المحتوى وإلى ريادة الأعمال والمساهمة في تشكيل الثقافي حلال وتعزيز حضوره العالمي. تتفضل مديرة الجلسة الأستاذة إيفانا هان لترحيب بضيوفها الكرام وإدارة هذا الحوار.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon or good evening. We are approaching the evening. My name is Efnan Han. I'm an international news anchor at TRT World, and it's my absolute pleasure to take the stage once again at the Halal Forum, this time in the beautiful city of Mecca. We are going to have a timely discussion, ladies and gentlemen, a discussion that I think will make many of you evaluate the strategic importance of how influencers can evaluate businesses and reshape entire markets in unimaginable ways by using their platforms. I'd like to introduce my esteemed panelists of this discussion. Joining me is Ms. Farzana Badwal, the president of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations and CEO of Curzon PR. Joining us from Thailand is content creator Dean. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome Pasant Nuruddin, who is also a content creator and tour guide. All right, welcome to all of you once again. I don't want to give too much information away from your personal biographies because I want you to sit and explain yourself of what you're all about, how you've come to where you are today. But I do want to inform our audience about what to expect over the next 55 minutes or so, because that's the time that they've given us for this panel. We are living in an era where influence is no longer confined to visibility. It is capital. It shapes consumer behavior, drives trust, creates demand, and increasingly builds businesses. Within the halal ecosystem, this shift carries even greater weight because here influence isn't only commercial, it is ethical. It must align with all of our values. Today, we will explore what defines the difference between an influencer and an entrepreneur, how personal branding becomes measurable economic value, how ethical and Sharia-aligned content can scale sustainability, and where the next wave of innovation lies in halal digital markets. Our speakers each represent a critical dimension of this journey that we're going to explore. Pasant, I'd like to begin with you with your opening remarks, please.
Thank you so much. I really would like to appreciate that I'm invited to such important event, encouraging the projects to follow the halal rules and aspects. Second, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Pasant Nuruddin from Egypt. I'm content creator. I consider myself a storyteller who tells the stories of past and present, the stories of stones as well as the humans. So I don't consider myself only a traveling content creator, but a storyteller. That's all.
Dean, we can hear from you now.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to ICCD, invited me to be here. I'm so excited to be here, honestly. And to be here on the Holy Land, Makkah Al-Mukarramah, such an honor. You know, I come from Thailand, and we are minority Muslims, which it's about 10% Muslim in Thailand. We have about 70 million population. Some says less than 10%. So we tend to be like a very strong community Muslims in Thailand. So when I told my mom that, Mom, I'm gonna go to Makkah because they invited me, everyone is shocked. Like, this is very important for us. Before I get to the point, but I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dean. Honestly, normally when I go to on stage in Thailand, I don't really introduce myself, but for the context, I need to do it. My name is Dean. I'm from Thailand. I'm a Muslim, born and raised as a Muslim, and Thais. And also, I do halal content through social media, whatever, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Most of the time when I go on content, when I make content, I will make a halal content. We'll get to that afterwards, but I would say maybe it's a bit strange, sounds strange to be Thai and we talk about halal now. But nice to meet you all. This is my introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean. Farzana?
Hello, my name is Farzana Baduel, and I work in public relations, so the business of storytelling. And I am also the president of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations. I'm incredibly thrilled to be here today because one of the biggest aims of the Institute is responsible communications, which dovetails perfectly with the theme of today's panel. I'm very honored to be here on stage with incredible content creators and also huge admiration for your work.
Thank you so much, Farzana. Okay, I'm gonna delve right into the nitty-gritty of the world, the digital world of influencers. Pasan, I want to bring you back in. You have a huge following. Walk us through that journey. How did you manage to garner a following of, if I'm not mistaken, 6 million across your socials?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I'm grateful for Allah who made me reach that big number of followers, around 6 million people. And I think it's because of many things. And the one on the top, that I'm creating content from my heart. And I believe that what comes out from the heart reaches other people's heart. And actually, I'm so passionate about telling stories that spreading hope and love through narrating stories from the past and the present about great people. It doesn't mean great people very famous or very well known. For example, people who could pass many obstacles in their life. I also tell the stories of the stones, not just as an old house or an old mosque or temple, but I'm telling the people the human side of the stones. I make people feel that the stones are not just a piece of a stone. I make them feel that these stones carrying the spirit of the people who lived once or served once in those monuments in many thousands years ago. So that's, now I have told, I think, 2 reasons that I'm telling stories from my heart. The second is I'm telling, humanitizing the stones, humanitizing the destinations. The third reason, I think, that I never like to lie. I always telling the truth. I'm trying to make the best effort that I can to be accurate in narrating the information that I'm telling people. And before all, for sure, it's Allah. It's Allah actually who gifted me all these things to deliver to people this content.
So it's storytelling from the heart, so
Yeah.
genuinity.
Yeah.
Also, keeping it halal, portraying the truth as much as possible.
Yes.
That's one thing you have in common, Dean, with Passant, with the type of content that you create and put out there. Talk to us a bit about how you manage to keep your content halal in a country where Muslims are the minority.
For me, it's very, very hard. When I started to make content about 7 years ago, in fact, I started my journey started as a business boy, you know, when I was in campus. Then I started my beverage branch. Then it started growing
as
up.
what? I didn't understand.
Pardon?
As
Oh,
what?
he's not asking. Pardon?
No, go ahead. She didn't understand what your career started as. So what was your career?
Yeah.
What did you start as?
First of all, I started as a business guy.
A business guy.
I'm selling drinks. I'm
Whoa.
selling drinks in campus.
Okay.
But then my business growing so fast in the campus, so I just want to promote my products.
Okay.
But then I start my YouTube channel to promote my own products. Yeah, that's my journey.
Okay.
But then in Thailand, as you guys know, we are minority Muslims. Most of us are Buddhist and Christian, you know. I question myself when I start my YouTube channel. I have to make a halal content because I would say my ustad, you know, my senior, they said, Al-Islam, taqwa means ta'muru bil ma'ruf wa tanhana 'anil munkar. Means you have to, you know, support everyone to make good things and prohibit to the bad things. When you do a good thing in your content, when people follows, you get a good deeds. When you do haram things, people follows, you get a sins. That's my principle. So I start my channel by telling myself that I'm not going to use any music in my content. I'm not going to do any gambling sponsorship. I'm not going to do any bad words in my content. I'm not going to do any awrah thing. I mean, the part that women cannot show. I will blur it. You know, my standards are so high at first. Then I question myself. My friend questioned myself that who will watch your videos when if you don't use music? Who will watch your videos? Who will support you? Where's your emotional comes from? I mean, if you don't have music.
Especially when music on socials is something that pushes you out into the algorithm.
That's correct. Especially in Thailand. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you say Thailand? It's lights, it's music, it's sounds. You know, if you go to Thailand, it's in Arab they call it Baladul Hurriya, a freedom country. Like you can, I would say you can find weeds on mall. You can smell it if you cross the road. It's very, you know, in their beliefs, it's okay, but in Muslim it's haram. It's so hard to make halal while the things around you are prohibited. You know, it's so hard. But then I start to make my content. As I'm not using music, but I use they call it a cappella. You know, a cappella? It's come from a sound of humans.
Like,
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
And then I started to do my YouTube at the time and Facebook, right? Then my channel is growing very slow. For the first a year and a half or 2 years, nobody watched it. Yeah, except my mom and my dad that share it. But then I started questioning.
For 2 years and you didn't give up.
Yeah, I put myself that I have to post a video once a week. Every week, edit myself, find content for myself. You know, eating, you know, I call it Dean Blog. My channel is called Dean Blog. That means I can travel, I can eat, I can do whatever I want. It's halal, right? Then I do for a year and a half, started questioning myself. But then one video It got viral. At the time, for a year and a half, I got around 4,000 followers for a year and a half. It's very slow.
Yes, yeah.
Very slow.
Yeah, no, it's not slow. No.
Really?
Really, yeah, yeah.
About 7 years ago. But then I got one content, which is I make English content. You know, introduce a student in Thailand. But then for one day, at one time, I got a follower grow up so fast, from 4,000 to more than 100,000 in one night, and changed my life forever. But then, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like answer my dua that halal doesn't mean that no people watch it. You know, when a YouTuber around you use music, use drums, use I mean, everything that you can possibly imagine, right? Like 18 plus content in Thailand, you know, it's normal, right?
Yeah.
Where I can use it. But then my followers start to grow. Until now, we got 5 million followers.
That's amazing. It only takes one video, as
Yeah.
you both would know, and Farzana would know as well. Social media is such a dynamic place to be in terms of what you can put out there, what people consume. You may have the right techniques, but it does really take one video to go viral to actually break the code.
That's correct.
So I'm assuming, Dean, you didn't give up your values throughout this whole process over the last 7 years. So
Yeah.
to this date, I'm going to ask the question, have you not used music at all, just a cappella?
That's correct.
MashaAllah. Farzana, I want to bring you in here. It's, MashaAllah, I think that deserves a round of applause. I agree.
Thank you.
Farzana, the queen of PR, I want your thoughts on what we've heard from these two very successful influencers. We're talking about genuinity again through storytelling from the heart, connecting on a one-on-one basis with your consumers, your followers, and we have another influencer that is very value-driven, hasn't given up on that dream of creating halal content and knows that there is an audience out there for that. But at the same time, it's this image that they're putting out there that really drives that traction to their pages. Talk to us about the importance of PR in this space.
I think it's really inspiring to hear your stories. I think if we think back when I was young, we used to have sort of broadcast TV only and a few newspaper, and the agenda was very much sort of decided by editorial and the ownership structure of the outlets. And then all of a sudden, social media came onto the scene, and all of a sudden it became accessible that everybody could be a publisher. And previously, in the past, only a few very wealthy media barons who often had business and political interests could be the ones who could determine what content goes into the public sort of stream. And so what an opportunity that we now have, the democratization of communications, but with that also brings a lot of darkness, because the algorithms in social media, they favor engagement, and hate is one of the highest forms of engagement on these algorithmic platforms. And it's wonderful to see two examples of content creators that haven't taken that path, that easy path, the rage baiting that we see that's flooding social media, that they've taken a lighter path of bringing positive content, you know, in this ecosystem that we're all floating in. So I think huge congratulations to you both, because you've actually taken the most difficult path for storytelling, and you've been swimming sort of against the stream. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Well, one thing that I know you all have in common, you've used your influence in one way or another, and transformed that influence, utilized that influence into commercial value through your own halal niches, your journeys, and trust is very important when it comes to that element, when you start to monetize on the influence that you have on these platforms. Pasanta, I want to bring you back in. Talk to me about, I know that genuinity is very important. To connect with your followers is very important to gain that trust. What else needs to be done, though? When you actually start creating that influence into a business, how do you sustain that trust in the long run?
So as a content creator, I have two ways of making money, okay? The first one is to make my own brand, or as a content creator about history, culture, and traveling destination, I can organize tours or or establishing a tour agency. The other way to make money is to make collaborations with brands, organizations, and so on. So before accepting any collaboration, I have to be 100% sure of the values of the event I am invited to. For example, if I'm collaborating with an organization. And also I have to be 100% of the quality of the brand I'm marketing for, to make sure that he's really offering a good quality service or a very good quality product. I have to tell the truth. I can't cheat. I can't cheat my followers. Because I build really a huge trust. يعني. So I don't want to lose this. Not just to have those followers forever, but because also it's really a huge responsibility in front of Allah to tell the people the truth, to not cheating them and tell them this is the best thing or this is the best event, and then they find it's a blah blah blah. To make sure to investigate, to even when I am doing something related to me, for example, like organizing a tour, I have to make sure that everything is made perfect. And I am not telling something which is not in the program. That's what I am doing to make sure that I'm really following the halal aspects, and also to have the trust of these followers, and also to have Allah, Allah acceptance for what I'm doing.
Well, I know that a lot of people that look up to figures like yourselves, they aspire to become influencers. They aspire to make that their career moving forward. So Dean, I want to bring you in and ask you whether or not you think this is the market to be in for the younger generation. You know, for Zana, I think we're a bit too old now to tap into that market. But I mean, for the younger generation who want to become influencers, how can they build that trust? Is this market the place to be to make money? And how can they earn that money through the halal ecosystem?
Honestly, if we talk about Thailand, the halal market is growing rapidly fast. It's very, very fast. Thailand, we are, as I said, it's minority Muslims, but one of the largest chicken exporter, halal chicken exporter in the world. And you know, the processed food, the tuna and everything is from Thailand. And if you know that, if you've been to Thailand, you would see that even in Minimart, in 7-Eleven, there are halal section. Even though we are mostly Buddhist, but there are halal. Even halal microwave in 7-Eleven for tourists. So you go to Bangkok, you go to Pattaya, you will see many people from Saudi Arabia, from Oman, from many places around the world. Halal market is very big right now. Me, as a halal content creator in Thailand, I would say I'm one of the top halal content creator when it comes to sponsorship. When a product wants to promote that they have halal certification, they will contact us. Like maybe top 3 in Thailand. So I would say every single month they have a new halal. Do you guys know that in Thailand we have more than 200,000 SKUs? A product, more than 20,000 halal business that got certified from halal. Yeah, it's very huge for non-Muslim country. It's a great choice for a younger generation to start their own channel, to be an influencer, and they focus on halal. It's I mean, the market is huge, but influencer is very small numbers. It's very niche. So it says that we have more opportunities in the future, especially in Thailand, and I think all around the world too. And I think it's a great opportunity for younger generation to start to make halal contents and make a good da'wah. I mean, how to say in English da'wah? Da'watul Islam. I mean, spread the Islam through the world. This is one of the best way to making good deeds for as a Muslims. You saying in my content to build the trust. I'm answering the question now. I build the trust by I'm personally making travel vlogs. I've been to many places around the world. In my content, I would say mostly they are non-Muslim. Before I eat, I would say Bismillah. 3, 2, 1, Bismillah. Until they starting to ask me, the fan asked me that, what did you say? Bismillah? They will ask me like that. So it's my chance to explain to them, what did I say in the video? Every video I would say, Bismillah, MashaAllah. And I would pray in the video without telling them, not making them feel like I'm giving Islam to them straight away. I would not say things I will do good with my neighbor. For example, I went to Pakistan. Pakistan, one of the largest Muslims in the world, right? And I met so many people in Pakistan, not telling them what is Islam. I show them how Pakistani react to me, how Pakistani helped me in the video. They helped me a lot. They brought me to the places, bring me some food, and guide me to the places. That's Islam. They found Islam by many, Pakistani. This is real. Like Pakistani is so nice. People are so nice. And this is da'wah for many non-Muslim to see that, a big beard doesn't mean scared. I mean...
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the non-Muslims because both of you obviously have a global audience as well. It's not contained to your respective countries.
That's correct.
And unfortunately, and Farzana, we were speaking about this yesterday, Muslims, especially in the West, because of how Western media portrays Muslims, were not always put in the greatest light.
Yeah.
And as content creators, Muslim content creators that give value in creating halal content to not only speak to the Muslims around the world, but to speak to other people of other religions that also have those values, because we have a lot of similarities amongst ourselves. We do coexist. We have coexisted for centuries. Talk to us a bit about perception here and how important perception is when you're recording a video. What words do you have to use? What words can you refrain from? What words should we proudly say to combat those misconceptions that we've seen far too long in Western media?
I think the experience of a Muslim that lives in, as a minority is very different than a Muslim that lives in a Muslim majority country. And one of the experiences that a lot of minorities experience is the rise of Islamophobia. And because of the democratization of all of these social media channels, which basically means anyone with a phone can communicate, and because of the way the algorithms are structured, if people respond, and negative responses are quite sort of fueled, the content creator can end up earning quite a lot of money, regardless of whether the content is true or not. There was a situation a few months ago in Sri Lanka, and a content creator realized that he could make an awful lot of money from social media content, and he had no political agenda. It was purely an economic enterprise. And what he figured out when he started analyzing the algorithms is that if he targeted Islamophobic content into the UK, specifically focusing on older generations above Gen X, that would be the sweet spot, the Islamophobic content, anti-migrant, and specifically Gen X upwards. That was the money-making sweet spot for him, and ended up earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And of course, that is an awful lot of money for anyone, let alone somebody living in Sri Lanka. And that goes to show that in the past you had a lot of state-sponsored disinformation. Now you actually have a commercial imperative for disinformation, and the algorithms, they favor Islamophobic content because it gets the response. So what you're having is also the algorithms are manufacturing consent for Islamophobia. And so it is really important, the work that both of our content creators are doing, because what they're doing, they're humanizing Muslims. They're telling their story. And that's why long-form content in particular is so important. Social media, our attention spans are gone. We're just, 10 seconds on X or Blue Sky or the shorts on YouTube. Our attention spans are so short that we get glimpses of, fake news and mixed in with real news and half-truths. But actually, the content that they provide, long-form content on YouTube or, for instance, podcasts, they really humanize and contextualize Muslims in a way that is so critical and important. And what they really are, they're ambassadors for our community. The work that they do makes life easier for the rest of us, and we need more of them. So, hugely grateful.
Thank you.
Pasant, I think you want to add something to that.
I would like to add a point to Din talk about, for example, his visit to Pakistan. I think that content creation is not only in enhancing like the Muslims' reputation around the world, but also there is invisible support that you do for those people. For example, if I watch your video, you would encourage me to visit Pakistan and to meet those kind people who invited you to many things and took you there and there. So by this way, you will help the economy and the life of those people. So by content creation, we are not only enhancing like the public reputation, but also you help the Muslims on an individual basic too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Because it is a source of inspiration, and I've seen that firsthand. I mean, I live in Istanbul. I think Turkey is, one of the countries that use social media the most. We have a lot of influencers there, and they have a very major impact on the population, especially the younger generation. Even millennials, they have an impact on millennials, the way we think, perception. Again, I'm coming back to perception, Dean. Talk to me about what perception means for you in your work, and how it's affected your business as well.
You mean perspective? Perception, I'm sorry. Okay. In fact, to me, it's very easy to maintain my my work as a minority Muslim, because my brand is very obvious when it comes to the brand. When look at me, and when it comes to making sponsorship, people will contact us about halal, and everything is halal. And also when it comes to a gambling website in Thailand, they have a lot of some gambling website or something that about riba, about interest. They will contact us at first and asking us about the things, and we have to have. I have in my own company that have a Sharia. I mean, the ustad, a sheikh that will look at the contents of the customers of the sponsorship. Then they will considering is halal or haram, and we can change a bit or not. We have to leave. We have to reject many sponsorship, especially in Thailand. It's very easy for it's non-halal. It's very easy. So in Thailand, we have to reject hundreds of many dollars. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars every month for just rejecting that particular contents. It's very hard. For example, if you want to promote a chips, a snacks, right? and they have a challenge that when you buy a snacks, you can send the message to the company, which is maybe you got a gold, maybe you got a prize, you know, which is in Islam, it's haram, it's gambling. So we have to talk about, we have to explain to our customer that this is our belief, we cannot accept that, we are sorry for that, maybe next time you contact us. Or sometimes it's about bank come to us and ask us about if you open the accounts, you got high interest. We have to explain one by one. But then
so you're looking at every single little detail, from what the company stands for, whatever you're promoting with that company, the banking of it all, which brings me to the issue of governance. Farzana, I want to bring you in here because you've become an expert when it comes to governance. We've spoken about trust, we've spoken about ethics, values. These are all very crucial elements of governance. I mean, Dean is lucky enough to have a sheikh with him to walk him through that process, but not everyone is lucky enough to have that guidance. Talk to us a bit about what influencers who are monetizing on their platforms need to look out for in terms of governance and how they need to navigate that process.
Well, I think we all know about trust, that trust is so hard to earn and it's so quickly to lose. And we always hear about influencers who then are exposed because they took money but didn't declare it, they didn't follow the advertising rules in their sort of country's jurisdiction. And I think, you know, previously when influencers first came about, people would think, well, actually, the thing is that if an influencer says something that's factually inaccurate, then what can you do? You know, back then they weren't really being sued like they are obviously today with Candace Owens. You're having issues with her as a podcaster. But back in the day, people trusted legacy media, legacy journalists more because they thought, well, actually, if they say something that's not true, then you can sue the media outlet. And that was one form of sort of a trust. The second was also the actual journalist has studied journalism, understands, you know, the sort of the rigor, the balance that's required. And so there was always a trust deficit between traditional journalists and influencers. And that trust deficit was really because the accountability that you can hold to a media outlet to a certain extent, and the sort of the journalism rigor of the actual journalist. And then what you started seeing is content creators started to understand that there was a trust deficit, and then they understood that what people are looking for is they don't want to necessarily go back to legacy media, traditional media, but they're looking for influencers that they can trust and not people who are compromised, who need to take advertising and they don't really do their due diligence. And I think media literacy is increasing, and people are beginning to suss out influencers, and they're beginning to figure out which influencers do their due diligence and go that extra mile to make sure, for instance, that the money that you're getting is not from organizations that have simply spotted the opportunity of the halal dollar or pound or rupee and is trying to monetize access to it using your followers. And that's where that sort of that granular going the extra mile. And of course, you know, an influencer can turn around and say, oh yes, well I've checked, and you know, but you've got halal washing. And so I think influencers, the minute you take on a brand that then it turns out that there's an exposure of halal washing, you could lose your trust overnight. And I think that's really quite critical, is that trust is an asset. It's like a balance sheet item for these influencers. And I'll just say the second thing about trust is, although, you know, for both of you it's your business, I would say for those in the audience who may not be content creators, if you're a CEO, a CFO, aspiring CEO, entrepreneur, etc. Social media is something that you can use. It's not just YouTube and TikTok and so forth. It's also in B2B marketing. It's LinkedIn. A lot of people who are looking to join a company, especially Gen sort of Z and so forth, they often look on the LinkedIn profiles of the senior leadership to see, is there a values gap between what the company purports their position is and that of the senior leadership. So the conversations we're having, it's about content creators, but also most of us sitting in the audience, to some extent are creating content as well. So a lot of lessons for all of us.
I actually want to keep you on this topic. Do you think that there are sufficient accountability measures and mechanisms in place right now in the digital space?
No.
There aren't?
No, not at all. I think that we're living in a very dirty information ecosystem, and I think it's getting worse. We're moving from different countries, but we're moving into an incredibly low trust era where media literacy isn't as high because the communication channels are moving so quickly. And I think that when it first came about, social media was seen as a bit of a utopia. And that was the Californian dream of the inventors. But I think now it isn't. And so I'm not entirely optimistic, I'm afraid.
Hassan, what do you think about that? I mean, where do you see the future of the digital space going to in terms of creating a sustainable business? Because you don't want to create a business that will only last you a year or two. You don't want to create partnerships that is only going to be short term. You want to create a career, a business path for yourself. And that could be through creating a brand, as you said, that you've done with, creating an agency, a tour agency or tour guides. But when you look at the broader picture of the digital market and creating businesses within the digital market, do you think it's continuing to fail? What's the trajectory look like for you?
In my opinion, social media world is a threatening world. It's not a stable world at all, because people today have a taste, and tomorrow their taste changes. Okay, so what they like today, they dislike tomorrow. And if I follow the people desires, I will lose my identity, and I will lose my values. So in my opinion, as a content creator, I would like to stay making videos to deliver the messages I would like to deliver to people: love and peace and harmony. But at the same time, I have to think very well about establishing a brand, which is it shouldn't be, it's not a must to be aligned with my content creation of traveling. So it can be another thing.
So one of your recommendations would be to influencers is to invest your money and your influence into other businesses as well. It doesn't have to be related to your...
Because when you are money independent, financial independent, you will own your voice. So I will be always able to tell the truth, tell what I believe, without being affected by the people desires and their taste. Yeah.
Nonetheless, despite all the negativity within the digital space, it is a growing market. People are using social media today now more than ever. And the Halal Forum is a great platform to have figures like yourselves speak to business leaders. So, Dean, what would your message be to them to be able to collaborate with companies that not necessarily puts in enough value into the work that influencers do?
To me, we have to in my opinion, I think my message to halal business owners would be, we have to have a clear standpoint for us. If we want to make halal, we make it halal. And if we want to grow our community as a halal business, B2B and whatever, I think we have to help each other to build this halal economy standard higher and higher than ever. Yesterday, I met many businessmen from around the world, and we've talked. And he said we have to help each other. If you look at the Chinese, I have many friends from China. They help each other always. For example, if they want to buy some stocks, they would ask the price, maybe higher than others, but they want to help a Chinese in Thailand like that. So their community are growing very fast. In halal, I think it's the same. If we want to make halal independence, halal economy, halal, and everyone help each other from Pakistan, help many places, I think the halal economy will go stronger and stronger and stronger every single day. And for me, in my belief, I think if we make it halal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us. In hadith, they call it إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. So intentions are the best. I mean, the most important things in business is intentions. In ibadah, in everything. And if you want to help, in Muslim perspective, it doesn't mean that you help only Muslim. I mean other people also you have to help. Like me myself, when I do content, of course I go to Muslim community and others too. But as a halal, we gotta help each other too to make our own halal economy going stronger, inshallah.
So more collaboration.
Yeah.
Between halal-based companies, content creators that create halal content, and companies that want to thrive off of that content, grow their businesses through that content. I mean, it's a great opportunity, and it's definitely a market that they should tap into if they haven't already. I have 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left, so I want to get your final thoughts. Farzana, let me start with you.
I say working with content creators is incredibly valuable, and I think the lens to look at choosing which content creators, it's one obviously is the reach, but actually what's most important is the values alignment, and because that is what builds the trust. Awareness is sort of top of the marketing funnel, but if you really want to really get a conversion, a good return on investment, it's really going the extra mile, and just like they vet their advertisers, likewise organizations should also vet their influencers with the same sort of granular rigor as well. And it's a huge opportunity, a commercial opportunity for all businesses operated in the halal sector.
Some would argue the best opportunity in this day and age to get their business really out there and known, especially on a global scale with social media. Passant?
I want to tell that actually content creators not the only who are responsible for the halal content and non-halal content, but also audience. You are responsible too, because by watching the bad content, you are encouraging the non-halal content. And by watching the halal content, you encourage the halal content. So please, as you always pointed to us to be aligned with the halal aspect, you too please encourage content creators to keep doing content creation or to stop doing the bad one.
I love that message, because we often forget that it's a two-way street. It's not just the influencer and the content creator. It's the audience that
yes,
fuels.
And also the organizations and the brands who also make collaborations just because this one has a big number of followers. He also should investigate what is the type of his content before making a collaboration with them. And be sure that it's not about the number, it's about the trust. So there are, yes, many who create bad content and have millions of followers, but when they promote for a product or a brand, actually the collaboration fail because the people, yes, they watch them, but they don't trust them. So I also advise brands to not be tricked by the number of followers, and also I advise people to encourage the content creators also to do the good by watching them and neglecting other bad content creators.
Thank you so much. Dean?
It's a very good answer. I mean, I agree with her. Like in business, we have to support the halal content. I mean, when you watch a bad content, maybe it's haram content, that means you support them too. Yes. I agree with that. And in Islam, I believe that we have to fulfill commands of Allah. Whoever you are, I mean, if you are influencers, YouTuber, or businessman, we make business not to make money. We make business because we want to fulfill the commands of Allah. We make content not to get famous. We make content because we need to fulfill commands of Allah. I think if everyone does the commands of Allah, I mean, we do the right thing, follow the footsteps of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I think everyone, we got the community, the economy, the society, we get stronger every day, especially in halal way. And now we live in Holy Land, Makkah Al-Mukarramah. We went to Haram and we see Kaaba and we see the historic place. You know, from the Jahiliyyah era to now, millions of people gathering in one place. I mean, it comes from, you know, it looks impossible at the time. You know, 1,400 years ago, it looks impossible to make it halal. That's 100% Muslim over there, if you see. And if you look at now, we say it's almost impossible to make it everything halal. But Prophet Muhammad and his Sahabas, his companions, did, and we can see now that millions of people are coming for Islam. And I think we have to believe that every single step that we breathe and we walked, we have to fulfill commands of Allah. And I think the society, the halal economy, we get stronger every single day.
Yeah, we often forget that we have
Thank
the
you,
best
Alhamdulillah.
example in front of us to follow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the main takeaways from today's discussion is that influence is definitely no longer about reach. It's about responsibility, it's about structure, it's about economic participation with a value-driven ecosystem. The future of the halal industry will not be and cannot be built by corporations alone. It will be shaped by individuals like the ones that we have on the stage with us here today. Thank you all very much for joining me and adding so much value to the discussion that we just had. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
شكرا لضيوفنا الكرام ولمديرة الجلسة على هذا النقاش الملهم. ويتفضل الآن الأستاذ أحمد الرحبي المدير التنفيذي للعلاقات العامة والاتصال المؤسسي لمبادرة منافع لتكريم مديرة ومحاورين الجلسة. حضورنا الكرام، ندعوكم لمبادرة مسلم تيك مع الأستاذ محمد مالك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It feels incredible to be here in Makkah Al-Mukarramah, and I'm glad to have met so many incredible people. I hope you're all enjoying, inshallah ta'ala, and I hope this event is one blessed one for you all, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So I have a quick question for you all, and that is, does anybody know what that is over here on the screen? Any guesses? You see an M, D, C, C, C. Any thoughts? Any guesses? Is it? So, brothers and sisters, these are Roman numerals, right? Some of you may have Roman numerals on your watches. Some of you may add a bit of, a little bit of style to your events by adding those Roman numerals. But let me tell you one thing, it's very difficult to use Roman numerals for long division, let alone to calculate the trajectory of a star or do any credible maths. So this was the height of civilization at one point. The very peak of society, using Roman numerals, right? And we were stuck. We weren't able to do the calculus or anything required to move us forward until this came along. Does anybody know what this is? Any guesses? From this side. So this is Sifr, 0, right? Sifr represents not just a number, but it represents a moment in history that unlocked infinity. From 0, Sifr, came an infinite amount of opportunity. From algebra to algorithms and beyond, to the very coding and systems and the AI that we see today. As we see, from Sifr, this invention and this finding, if I can say, of this 0 came algebra, came algorithms, came coding, came the very AI that we're talking about today. So some people, they will say that, AI, as we talk about today, is the greatest invention since electricity. Some say even it's possibly the greatest invention, the greatest progress that humankind has made since fire. But we say, Sifr, it is the greatest thing. It is the Sifr moment. It's a moment in history that we won't be able to remember how it was like before AI. Just like right now, we can't really imagine a world without 0. Very soon, you will find AI is so deeply embedded into everything we do that we wouldn't be able to imagine a world without it. So, introducing a new initiative, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, partnering with the Ghurfa Tijariya Islamiyya, Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development. We're launching a new initiative called Sifr. My name is Muhammad Malik, one of the co-founders of this initiative, and we look forward to joining all of you, inshallah ta'ala, in this movement of how to bring AI technology to the OIC to equip all of us so we're not left behind, inshallah ta'ala. So, Sifr also represents to us a moment in history where we were at the very epoch, at the very top of science and technology. But what happened, my dear brothers and sisters, after this moment? We missed this huge innovation called the printing press, right? We missed that boat almost completely. We then missed, or were rather reactive and observers of the Industrial Revolution. Following that, we also were largely observers as opposed to creators when it came to the dot-com bubble. Following this revolution of social media, again, we were largely reactors as opposed to creators. But now, my dear brothers and sisters, let's not be reactors. We have a golden opportunity with AI to be creators. And just before I forget, right here is a QR code. If any of you want a free audit of your business and a free evaluation of how your business and how your processes can be automated with AI, Bismillah, feel free to scan that QR code from our partners from a venture studio, beloved to us. Going forward now, where are we as the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Countries, when it comes to AI? Here's a snapshot from Dinar Standard telling us about, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, we have some incredible talent and slowly developing infrastructure when it comes to AI, when it comes to resources, when it comes to some very high potential countries like Pakistan, like Nigeria, all the way through to rapidly emerging communities and technologies in countries like Turkey, to then those building things like humane AI foundational models in Saudi right here. So, the question that I was asked before this keynote was, is AI halal? Believe it or not, I'm working with researchers from Cambridge and Oxford who say we would rather, because of the threats and the fitan associated to AI, not have AI at all. But maybe we show of hands, do people think AI is halal in this room? Yes, mashallah, tabarakallah. You know, al-aslu fil ashya mubahat, right? The principle is everything's halal except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram. Inshallah. So, in order to explain halal AI, this concept that we are focusing on at Sifr, I just want to share with you one concept, not from maths, but now from biology. The concept is called the edge effect. Now, the edge effect, quite simply in biology, means that when two ecosystems meet, when, for example, land and water meet, at the meeting point, there is a new life that emerges, subhanallah, right? There's a new life that emerges when it comes to, mammals on the land, right? Meeting the fish in the sea. In the middle, you have amphibians that have properties of both, but a beautiful new life. So similarly, my dear brothers and sisters, when it comes to the question of halal AI, I ask you not to just make Sharia compliant AI, which is great. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. We need to think about maqasid. We need to think about the higher purpose of AI. We need to think about adl. Are we being just and transparent with our LLMs, our foundational models? Are we treating data with amana, with trust? And are we building with ihsan? Kataballah al-ihsan. In everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained excellence and God consciousness. But going beyond simply Sharia compliance, my da'wah to you is, let's think about how we can use this ecosystem, our tradition of Islam, be inspired by this to create new life when it comes to AI. As an example, this rigorous science of hadith, the sanad, the chains, this incredible mu'jiza, this miracle of sciences of hadith, scientists in AI have been inspired by this and looking to build LLM architecture that minimizes hallucination, that the knowledge branching is so rigorous that it outperforms that which is the normal benchmarks today. And an example, another one, being inspired by our history of usul, al-fiqh, and then using that, merging that ecosystem with the ecosystem of governance, that gives life to superior methodologies of governance and ethics. So, that's the teaser. Our next steps for you, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, is immediately, we just had a workshop a few moments ago where we're giving value to companies, anybody that don't want to be left without AI, bismillah, we're here to help you, to serve you, inshallah ta'ala, to automate your businesses, to come into the AI era. We've also have a leadership training, inshallah ta'ala, in London at Imperial College. We've got also a legacy call to you to join even your children, inshallah ta'ala, for them to learn what does it take to be a leader in this AI era. We have a course as well for you, inshallah ta'ala, at Imperial College, bi'idhnillah. So without further ado, we ask all of you to join our community. We have an announcement channel on WhatsApp. Bismillah, feel free to scan this, and any questions, we're here, the Sifr team is here, inshallah ta'ala. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you and allow us to collaborate in khair, and inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you very soon. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
يتفضل الآن الأستاذ عصمت معتوق مدير عام مبادرة منافع لتكريم الأستاذ محمد. حضورنا الكريم، بهذا نصل إلى ختام أعمال اليوم الثاني من منتدى مكة للحلال. يوم حافل بالحوارات العميقة والتجارب الدولية الملهمة والنقاشات التي تؤكد أن صناعة الحلال لم تعد خياراً بل ركيزة استراتيجية في الاقتصاد العالمي. نشكر لكم حضوركم وتفاعلكم، ونتطلع إلى استكمال هذه المسيرة غداً بإذن الله لمواصلة البناء وتعزيز الشراكات وصناعة المستقبل برؤية احترافية عالمية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.